live?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are live. Believe so. Okay. Today, I'll give it another minute. Today is yoga for stress. If you have blocks, they're handy. You don't have to use them, but if you have them, we're going to be on our knees. So if you have a blanket, if you have sensitive knees, grab a blanket, yoga blanket, or grab a towel, something you can place under your knees if your knees are sensitive. We're going to be on our knees a little bit, working the legs and the hips, so grab something if you need it. Make sure you're comfortable. You're not forcing yourself into any kind of pain on the knees. This is yoga for stress. So we're not looking to cause any pain. We're not forcing ourselves through pain. Now, discomfort in muscles is fine. We're looking to push through that discomfort in muscles because we're looking to build strength and release tension in muscles. But discomfort around joints, we don't push through. Any nerve discomfort, anything like that, any pinching, we don't push through. So make sure that you're comfortable because we are going to be on our knees a lot. And we're going to begin down on our backs. So come on down to your back. Bring your knees into your chest first and take a little wiggle around. Feel yourself on the ground. Take a little side to side. Feel your hips, your lower back. Start to feel your shoulders. Wiggle your toes, feel your feet. Maybe take some ankle circles. And start to land here on the ground. And then bring the soles of the feet to the ground, a little wider than the hips. And bring the knees in towards each other. And if this isn't super comfortable on your lower back, wiggle the feet around until you find that position where your knees can kind of knock in towards each other and your back feels nice and soft and relaxed. And then start to really land in the present moment, feeling your breath, creating a little sacred space around your mat, blocking out everything else and just being you in this moment on this mat. Starting to imagine little walls protecting you from things that have happened and things that have yet to happen, and just be in this moment on this mat, having a physical experience with this body, finding the breath. And then bring the palms of the hands towards the ceiling if they're not already facing the ceiling. And try to soften the palms of the hands, release any gripping in the hands and fingers. Soften the arms and shoulders. And then bring your awareness right into the very center of the chest. Imagine that you could start to breathe from this space right into the center of your chest. Breathing in fresh and sweeping away tension. And then imagine that you're surrounded in a bubble that contains precisely what you need in this moment. And try not to cognitively think of what that might be. Just imagine a protective bubble. And as you breathe into this space, you slowly start to draw in exactly what you need. From this space, the center of your chest, it's starting to trickle throughout your body as if slowly touching every cell one by one. Breathing in this magical bubble right into the center of the chest. And with the exhale, imagine you're releasing things that you no longer need. Sweeping away holding patterns. Sweeping away anything that stands in the way of this fresh, magical breath trickling throughout the body. Recharging. And then bring the palms of the hands to face the ground. Press the palms into the ground lightly, starting to just feel the shoulders. Notice what happens to your low back when you start to press into the ground. Try to turn off the low back if it's working. Turn off those compensation patterns and just start to feel the shoulders and move around. Press into one hand a little more than the other. Have an experience with your shoulders and your arms. Maybe rolling the shoulders back and forth, pressing a little more. Starting to really just feel your shoulders. Then flip the palms back to the ceiling and press the backs of the arms into the ground. Notice again any compensation patterns in the low back, the glutes. Try to remain soft around the hips and press into the arms and feel the shoulders. Maybe you can start to feel the muscles across the chest a little. And again, move the shoulders just slightly. Have an experience. How do your shoulders feel? Where is the tension? Just notice. Flip the palms back down to the ground. Soften the shoulders. Maybe give them a wiggle to really let them soften. And then bring the chin so that you know it's pointed to the ceiling and you're not flattening your neck to the ground. Feel your neck. Just start to feel sensation in your neck and then bring any palm of your hand to the forehead. Feel the connection of your hand on your forehead and then feel the back of your skull on the ground. Start to feel the neck and the jaw. Release the hand back down to the ground. Turn the chin to the right shoulder. Feel the left side of the neck. Really having an internal experience. Find the muscles. Now activate by pushing into the ground with the left hand and just kind of playing here. Little soft movements. Pressing into the hand and just feeling the tension in the left side of the neck. Breathing nice and slow. Bring the chin back through center and then over to the left shoulder. Feel the tension in the right side of the neck and then try pressing into the right hand just a little. And having an experience feeling the tension on the left side of the neck. Right side of the neck, sorry. Bring the chin back to center. Bring a knee in at a time, nice and slow. And then take the feet up into the air. Knees can remain bent. We just want our feet above our heart. Let the shoulders now take a break. So try and let the shoulders melt into the ground. Let the feet be up in the air. Look at the feet. Spread the toes wide. Feel the muscles in the feet. Take nice, slow as you can ankle circles. If your lower back is trying to compensate, press your hips down into the ground with your stomach. Then reverse your ankle circles. And then pedal the feet. So draw one back and push one away and then switch. Pedaling the feet, feeling the feet. Nice and slow, finding some muscles in the feet. Maybe even finding some muscles in the lower legs. And then bring the knees into the chest, reset, maybe even rock it a little. Bring the knees above the hips, press the hips down into the ground with the stomach, and then bring the ankles up even with the hips. Hold it here, start to fire up the stomach. Looking for compensation patterns, so make sure the low back isn't doing all the work. Really pull the stomach tight towards the spine, and then we're going to pedal the legs nice and slow. Press one away, bend one, and then switch. Nice and slow as you can, trying to find all the muscles that make this movement. Watch for compensation patterns in the face and the shoulders. Finding your breath, trying not to grip the breath. Bring the knees back into towards the chest. Take a little reset. Bring the left foot down, knee up. Set the right knee above the hip. Press the hips down to the ground. Foot even with the knee. Hold. And we're going to take the right knee out, open to the side and back. So nice and slow, trying to find the inner thigh muscles on the right leg. And again, watching for compensation in the low back. Press the hips down into the ground with the stomach. Maybe even hands on hips, just to help the hips feel grounded and remind them where they should be. And it's not a competition of how far the knee goes. It's just trying to find the inner thigh muscles. And then bring the right knee out to the right as far as you can. Hold it with the left hip still grounded, stomach still strong, and low back not doing all the work. Bring the foot out and active. Bring the toes towards the shin. We're going to bring the knee up and then push the foot away. Small movement. Knee up closer to the shoulder and then push the foot away. So really watching the stomach and the back. So stomach is strong. Back is not doing all the work. Finding that inner thigh. And then take the right leg all the way down to the ground, nice and long, and give it a wobble. Give it a wiggle, give it a shake, let it go. And then bring the right foot to the ground, knee up. Set up, so make sure that your hips are reset. Nice and solid on the ground. Press your hips down into the ground. Lift the left knee over the hip, the right foot even with the knee, the left foot even with the knee. Hold.
Right foot even with the knee.
Yeah. I'm not sure what you would have done. It's like a twister puzzle.
The left foot.
Left
knee even with the knee, and then the right foot.
Boom.
So
I guess
there you go.
maybe.
This.
It's like a twister puzzle. Make sure that right hip remains grounded. Stomach is strong. Take the left knee out to the left and then back to center. Nice and slow. We're trying to find that mind-body connection with the muscles. Find the muscles in the leg. Strengthen the muscles. Slow the movement down. Don't just use this flowing, throwing muscle limbs in space. And then bring the left knee out to the left as far as it can go without the right hip popping up. So just so you feel inner thigh is strong and active and holding the knee and leg where it is. And then bring the knee up towards the shoulder and press the foot away. Nice and slow and with control. And then lower the left leg long and let it shake and soften. Bring the left foot back to the ground and roll on over to the right side, knees bent. Knees lined up, ankles lined up, hips lined up. You can use a block underneath your head or fold your arm underneath your head. Get comfortable first. We're going to take the left arm all the way long from the shoulder, even with the shoulder. We're going to reach up and over. So trying to lock the lower body. We're thinking about upper body. Inhale as you reach up and over. Exhale as you bring the arm back down. Inhale as you reach up and over. Not throwing the arm around, engaging the arm, engaging the back and the shoulder. Trying to keep the hips and knees, lower body stable and solid. Watch for tension in the neck. Try to let the tension in the neck go and let the head just kind of go naturally with the movement. And then bring that down. Maybe place the left hand down on the ground. Take the left leg long and hold and hover it. Foot is flexed, leg is strong and active. Mindful of the space between the hip and the rib cage. So stomach is a little engaged. We're not squeezing and crunching this space. We're going to just work the leg, lifting the heel up and down. Nice and slow and with control. Hold the leg up, hover strong, and then we're going to bring the foot towards the nose. So nice and slow, and then back. If this is too much, if the leg is too heavy, bend the knee and bring the knee towards the nose, and then back. Nice and slow and with control, feeling all of the muscles you can find in that left hip and glute space. And watching for compensation patterns. Look if you're pushing your right foot or your right knee into the ground. If you're gripping with your low back, watch for that. Soften the face. And you can take a little of the pressure into your left hand. This is a compensation pattern, that's okay. Until you get strong enough in the hip to make this movement.
I'm pushing into the ground with my right knee, but I can't not do it.
Squeeze the core. And then lower the right toes behind the body. And then take the left arm up and over. Thinking about making space from the fingertips to the toes. Imagine someone grabbed your toes, grabbed your fingers, made you longer. If your shoulder is tight, take your arm ahead of your face, not over your head. Maybe even creep the fingers a little longer, creep the toes a little longer. Think about making space on the left side body. Breathe into the left rib cage. And then bring the knee back to the right knee. Roll on back to the back. Feet down, knees up. Take a little reset of the hips. Wiggle the knees left and right.
I think my right hip is more sore.
And then you're gonna roll over to the left side. We're gonna spin around so you can see us. So set up on the left side, either a block or your arm on your head on your arm. Knees even, hips even, ankles even. So get nice and solid in your base first. And then we take the right arm long from the shoulder, press it down onto the ground. And then we're going to inhale as we open and twist. Exhale as we bring the right arm back down to the ground. Thinking about strength in the shoulder, letting the head roll as it needs to. And also thinking about twisting through the upper back. Notice what you're doing. Notice if you think that there's a goal to this pose. Maybe you're trying to overstretch and you think your arm should land in some place. Just try to have an experience with the upper body, in between the shoulders, the upper back. Finding your breath. Letting go of that competition with ourselves. The forcing of ourselves. And just tuning into your body. You can find so much if you're willing to open up and listen to the muscles as you move. And then bring the right hand down to the ground in front of the chest. You can use it to support yourself. Make sure your base is nice and solid. Hips are on top of each other, knees are on top. Nice and strong, and then take the right leg long and hover it. Watch the space between the rib cage and the hip. We're not looking to crunch and lift. We're looking to find the muscles around the hip and then the leg. And then we're going to lift and lower. Watch for compensation patterns in the left leg, in the low back, in the face, the neck. And then hold the right leg up and hover it. We're going to bring it towards the nose, the foot towards the nose, and then back. So trying to have a low body from the hip experience, not crunching and bringing the chest towards the foot or bringing the stomach in and bringing the hip in. Trying to make a solid base and having the leg move. Finding all the muscles on that right hip. And again, if this is too much for the muscles, bend the knee and bring the knee up towards the nose until you find that strength. And then take the right leg way past the left, land it long. Imagine someone pulled your toes long and then take the right arm up over the head or just in front of the face. Imagine someone pulled your fingers and someone pulled your toes and made you longer. Breathe into the right rib cage. Bring the knees back even with each other and roll on over to your back. Take a little side to side. Knees go left and right. Wiggle the hips. Loosen the back. Take both the knees over to the left and focus on the right knee coming down towards the center. You might need to wiggle your foot around. Trying to find the front of the right hip and the front of the right leg, front of the right thigh. Maybe you can Gently wiggle the foot out a little more to the right. Watching for compensation patterns in the low back. So let the low back be soft here. Just focusing on front of the right hip, front of the right thigh, top of the right thigh. Mindful of the knee, so we're not pushing the knee down into the ground. Wriggle the foot out a little more and really sending the leg up. So the knee goes towards the ground and then counter push like you're pushing the thigh towards the ceiling. Wiggle your foot. Yeah, there, you got it.
Oh, it still hurts my knee.
Mindful of the knee. So if it hurts your knee, do it the other way. Whatever way you were doing it before that didn't hurt it.
Because I still feel the stretch in the front of my thigh. I just don't feel it in my hip.
You feel it in the front?
Yeah.
Well, what about right here? Slowly switch to the other side. Bring the left knee in. Let the right knee just flop over to the right. So you're going to let the left hip pop up off the ground. Let it pop up and then maybe even push with the top of the thigh up a little. And again, mindful of the knee. Whatever angle you're pushing at, if it's bothersome to the knee, change it. So change the way you move. Maybe let the right knee come a little further over, left hip come up.
My legs are in the wrong place because my left hip doesn't pop up the ground.
You've got your foot up really high towards your hip. That's why it hurts your knee.
This is a better stretch. I'm just going to leave it like this.
And then bring your knees back towards center. Take a little wiggle of the hips. And then we're going to find a position where our knees are comfortable, our feet are pushing into the ground. We're going to push up, lift our hips a teeny bit. So as if you could just slide your hands freely underneath your hips. Engage here. So really engage the feet. Maybe even lift the toes to remind yourself that your feet are engaged and you feel like you're pushing your feet away from you. You can bring the backs of the arms onto the ground to stabilize your fingertips to the ceiling. Hold here, and then we're just going to curl the pelvis and then bring it back. Curl the pelvis and bring it back. Nice, small, gentle movement. So finding the glutes, finding the lower core, finding the muscles in front of the hips, really pressing into the feet here. Trying not to get a super big arch with the spine. We're just focusing on the hips and the pelvis. And then lower the hips. This time, press into the feet, and give the hips a little wiggle. So really give the hips a shake left and right. Let go. And then bring your knees into your chest. Roll on over to a side and make your way to a tabletop position. So make your way to tabletop. And if you have the blocks, bring the blocks handy. We're going to move and breathe in our tabletop position. So inhale, tabletop. Exhale, towards child's. Just starting to feel your hands on the ground. You can place the blanket in underneath. Remember, comfort. We're not looking to cause stress on any of the joints. And then come on up to tabletop, and if you have the blocks, place place the blocks down on the ground and lift up onto the blocks with your hands. So just experience tabletop with your arms in a different position. So instead of having your hands right underneath your shoulders and forcing that 90-degree angle on your wrist, take your arms further ahead of the shoulders. Press into the blocks. So really press into the blocks and lift the chest away from the hands. So pull the chest away from the hands. Start to feel active and strong in the chest. So feel like you're pulling yourself up, and then send the hips backwards, nice and slow. Slow as you can, feeling long in the arms and shoulders and chest, strong. And bring the shoulders back up, hips back up. Holding on to the blocks. And then we're going to bring the right leg long. So take the right leg long, toes down. Set up first. So squeeze the stomach, squeeze the chest, everything lifting up out of the ground. We're not sinking into the shoulders, sinking in, holding strong. Lift the right heel. So now you can't lift it as high as you would if your arms were down. Lift and hold the leg. Really long with the leg, squeeze the stomach. And then take little pulses up and down. Tap the ground. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you lower. Still lifting up out of the blocks with your arms and shoulders. Whole body experience. Watch the back. Try not to bow the back. Strong stomach. Don't bow the back so you can get this leg higher. Strong stomach. And then turn the toes out. Lift the heel. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Turn the toes in and find the inner thigh also. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. And then lower the right knee. Bring the forearms down onto the blocks. Let the wrists soften. And then send the hips backwards. Try to take the tension out of the neck. If your neck is super tight and tired, maybe even resting the head on an arm. Try to soften the hands. Try to soften the wrists. Find your breath. And then set back up, other side. So hands back on your blocks. Get nice and strong in the chest and arms. So lift up out of the ground. This is me not active in my arms. I'm just hanging out in my shoulder joints. Lift up. Pull up out of the joint. Use your muscles. Find some muscles. Get strong. Lift the left leg and hold and hover it. Watch for bowing in the back. Squeeze the stomach. Really strong in the leg. Inhale as you lift. Exhale as you tap it down. Watch for compensation patterns in the right leg. The right leg should not be pushing into the ground to force the left leg up. Really trying to find left leg.
I can't do that. The only way to lift your left leg is to use your right.
Turn the toes out and lift. Strong leg, not floppy leg. Strong leg.
Every time I do exercises like this, I'm working the same muscle, the right muscles, just on the wrong leg.
Turn the toes in and lift.
Like I'm finding all these muscles on my right leg.
Watch your chest. Lift up out of the ground still. Strong and active in the chest and arms. And then lower the knee, forearms down onto the blocks, wrists soft. And then send the hips back. And bring it back up. This time, maybe adjusting the blocks so that they're a different height. So bringing the blocks along. If you do bring the blocks along, you're really going to have to focus. Press up, pull up, out of the ground with your chest. Take the right leg, long toes down. Really strong with your base first. And then we're going to bring the right knee in towards the chest, out towards the side, in towards the chest, out long. So nice and strong. Inhale long, exhale knee in. Inhale open, exhale knee in. Inhale long, exhale in. Inhale open, exhale in. So watch, I don't know if you just saw that, what I did. So you inhale long, exhale in. Inhale, open, but don't flip the left thigh. This is all about the right. So inhale, open, keeping the left side strong and stable. Watch the shoulders, don't sink into the shoulders, strong in the arms, full body movement. And then lower the right toes and press through the heel. And again, remember you can have the blanket in under the knees for these. Lower the right knee, left side. So make sure you take a little reset on your blocks. Get strong in the arms. Left leg out to hover. Hold. Inhale long. Exhale knee in. Inhale knee open. Exhale knee to center. Inhale long. Try to keep strength throughout the legs. Try not to make the low back do all the work. Take the left leg long, lower the toes, press through the heel. Lower the knee. Take the hands off the blocks. Take the hands and point the fingertips out and take the arms wide and take a little side to side. So bring the left shoulder down, right shoulder down center. Just trying to feel the shoulders. Feel the wrists in a different position. Taking just a little bit of weight into the arms. And then we're going to take our block. If you have a block, if you don't have a block, you're just going to pull the heel towards the glute and feel that engagement. If you have the block and want to play with the block, you're going to lock the block with the heel into the thigh. So try and lock it into the right thigh. You're going to have to engage the back of the right leg to hold your block stable. Find whatever position with your hands is comfortable for your hands, comfortable for your shoulders. And we're going to hold and hover our knee up off the ground and pull that block in. Squeeze it in. Squeeze and engage the back leg and then lift the knee and lower. So you're going to have to go slower. You're going to pop your block. Lift and lower, control. Watch for compensations on the left leg. Try not to press that left knee into the ground. You're really focusing on the right leg. Back of the right leg should already be burning. Squeeze your block. Squeeze your block, lift your knee, squeeze, 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 squeeze. And then release the block. Take the hips, release the knee to the ground. Take the hips all the way over to the right funky child's pose. And then set back up. This time placing the block in the left leg. Really locking, so you're pushing the block into the thigh with the left heel. Set up, lift and hover the knee. Watch for compensation patterns in this right leg. You're balancing with it, but you're not pressing into the ground to lift up. You're going to use the left leg. Nice and strong, and then lift the knee and lower. Really finding the back of the left leg. Cramping is somewhat normal when we use muscles that we don't use as often. That's normal. We're just looking to avoid joint or nerve pain. Muscle feedback is okay. If you get a cramp, breathe, soften and breathe, and focus on softening the muscle. Lift and hover your block. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Watch the lower back. Watch the neck. Soften the face. And then release the block. Release the knee to the ground. Take the hips all the way over to the left side. Funky child. And then come on back to a tabletop. Get comfortable on the knees. Turn the left fingertips towards the knee. Press the fingertips down, lift the wrist up, and then lower the wrist. And then switch the weight so that you're taking a little more weight on the left hand, a little more weight on the right hand. Just moving through the shoulders, moving through the arms. And then tuck the fingertips towards you, palm up, slide the palm underneath the right knee, and just press, left knee, sorry. And then just press the knee down a tiny bit into the hand. And then feel like you're trying to pull the hand out from underneath the knee without letting it move. And then release. Right fingertips by the right knee, fingertips point away towards the feet. And then lift the wrist and lower. Here. And then switch and exchange the weight between the arms. What?
That's it.
You said weird. And then turn the fingertips in towards you, palm up. Place the right knee onto the hand and just a little soft wiggle of the knee. And then feel like you're trying to pull the hand back out from underneath the knee without letting it move. Release the hand, move on to a hip, and roll on over. We're coming down to our backs. So lowering down to our backs. Taking a little shuffle of the hips. And then land the feet on the ground, knees up And just get comfortable in the lower body.
The little body.
Get comfortable in the hips, get comfortable in the legs. Lower body. The bottom half of your body should be nice and comfortable. Is that better?
Lower body.
Take your hands up towards the ceiling, zombie hands. So let your zombie hands fold. Just kind of feel the arms. So we use the arms and shoulders a lot. Take one arm up, let the shoulder plop. Take one arm up. So left and right. We're looking for wiggles in the shoulders and the arms. Arms should be soft now. We're not looking for muscles. We're looking for softness and release.
I have really
Maybe
short arms.
maybe flick the hands away a little. Trying to really have a softening, a vibration in the muscles, like a cellular reset. Don't let it plop hard. It's a little soft plop. Don't throw your arm up and let it slam down. Soft plop. Just like when we were wiggling our hips, everything's a soft little wiggle. Then take your arms and make it a little faster. Wiggle a little faster. See if you can wiggle out the shoulders a little.
Ooh, it popped my shoulder into place.
See, that's what you're supposed to be doing. And then bend the arms and really focus on softening the hands and wrists. Flick the fingers away. Notice if the arms and hands are still holding any tension, if they feel tired. Then bring the hands together and rub them together. Make them warm. And then rub the arms one at a time. Rub the other arm. Rub the hands again, make them nice and warm, and then you're going to bring opposite hand to opposite elbow. So feel the warmth of your hands on your elbows. Soften. See if you can just warm up the elbow joints. Take away any tension that's resting here. Imagine your hands have a healing touch. And the warmth of your hands could soften any tension. And then rub your hands together again. Make them nice and warm. Really, really, really warm. And then to opposite shoulders. So right hand to left shoulder, left hand to right shoulder. And again, think of that healing touch of your hands, the warmth of your hands, softening any tension in your shoulders. Imagine the warmth of your hands could inject little fluffy clouds in the joint, making the joint all soft and free. And then bring the palms of the hands down almost even with the shoulders, not quite up into a T, but a little bit further closer down to the hips. And then press left and right and try and get wiggles across the hands and shoulders. Trying to get little jelly wiggles, trying to soften more. Let your shoulders soften and wiggle on the ground, looking for that cellular reset, that let go feeling. Take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, just suddenly land. Notice what is going on in the shoulders. Notice any holding patterns in the neck and the face. Notice perhaps some tingling or warmth in your arms and hands. Find your breath. Take the feet a little bit wider. Wiggle them a little bit wider. A little bit wider than the hips, maybe even touching the edges of your mat. And we're going to just wiggle the feet soft. So press one foot and then the other. Wiggle the feet, and you're going to get softness and wiggling through the hips and the legs. Looking for softness and wiggling through the hips and the legs. And if you're not getting real softness in the hips, try and move the feet a little further away. Feel the position where you can get that wiggling left and right in the hips. Wiggle like jelly. Start to wiggle the legs. Try to let the muscles of the legs wiggle and reset. See if you can get that jelly feeling, a bowl of jelly wiggling. Loosen and soften. Let go of any gripping. And then take the feet long, but not incredibly straight. Let the heels land on the ground with a little soft bend in the knees. We're going to flick the toes and now try to get a full body wiggle. So flick the toes back and forth and let the rest of the body wiggle. Really trying to loosen and soften. Reset. Loosen control of your breath. Just breathe. And then take a deep breath in, and with the exhale, suddenly land on the ground wherever your body lands. Check in. Maybe you need to add a little wiggle to the feet to let the hips soften a little more. Notice if when you landed, one hip felt a little up or down or tighter. Just notice. Soften like a little holding pattern resting there, and just kind of wiggle the hips around until your legs are comfortable on the ground and your low back is comfortable. If Shavasana is not the pose where your low back feels most comfortable, then change it. There is no prize for resting in Shavasana. There are benefits for it, but if it is not the most restful pose for you, change it. Maybe bring the feet back to the ground, wider than the hips. Let the knees settle in. Maybe this is your more comfortable pose. Maybe you have a chair handy and you're able to put your feet up on the chair, or a big cushion to place underneath your legs. Find the resting pose. It's a resting pose, not a stretching pose. We're going into our final rest. So finding our position on the ground that we can be most comfortable in. Starting to loosen and soften. If you have a blanket, grab a blanket, get comfortable. Returning to focusing on the center of our chest where we started. So we worked our muscles. We released tension from our muscles. Now's the time to let go of any gripping in the muscles. And any gripping around the breath. Soften, release control of even the breath. Focusing right in on the chest center, imagining a softness here. And returning to that concept of being surrounded in a protective bubble that contains precisely what we need in this moment. Imagine soaking it into our chest center. Allowing it to slowly trickle through, as if touching each and every cell in the body. drawing in fresh to the heart center, allowing it to slowly trickle throughout the body. Trying to have an imaginative, intuitive, energetic, soft experience, traveling away from the mind and the fluctuations of the thoughts. Focusing in on our heart center, our center of our chest. Begin to imagine that your little protective bubble is filling you up all the way to the tips of the fingers, to the tips of the toes, to the crown of the head, to the tip of the nose. Imagine you become so filled with this unconditional, loving, kind energy. It begins to spill back out into your world. And that you're able to draw in so much of this energy that it's beginning to spill back out, ready to touch the lives of the people in your circle. Drawing in so much that you have plenty to share. Slowly bring little gentle wiggles to the fingers. And bring the palms of the hands together and rub them and make them nice and warm. And then place them one over the other on top of the heart, doesn't matter which order. Over top of the heart center, the chest center. Imagine the warmth of your hands could seal in this sense of protection and unconditional loving kindness. I'm going to repeat an ancient mantra in my favorite translation. Om Namah Shivaya, with great respect and love, I honor my own heart. Om Namah Shivaya, with great respect and love, I honor my own heart. Om Namah Shivaya, with great respect and love, I honor my own heart. taking a moment to bring some attention and awareness to the feet and the legs. Bring a knee in at a time to the chest. Curl up in a teeny tiny ball. And then roll on over to a side, whichever side is calling to you. Connecting with the fetal position. Connecting with the heart center, your true essential self. Your little spark of life. And perhaps thinking of some of these barriers that we hold and build around our heart center. And imagining them softening and laying on the mat. So that when you rise up, maybe rising up a little lighter. And then come to your seat, bring your hands to prayer at heart space, connecting our left and right sides in front of our heart, as if accepting ourselves as whole and complete, precisely as we are. Take a moment to honor your heart center, your soul, your spirit, whichever name you label it, whatever helps you connect to this space. Honor this center. Only when you can truly honor and love this center and connect to this center can you see this center in others. It's this part of us that connects to others. When we build up walls around it, we prevent it from being able to connect completely. Honor your heart center, and may we all know love, light, and connection. Thanks for joining us.